there has to be somewhere down the line a beginning of life that doesn't come from life because it's the first one.
When it comes to how life began, the most commonly held belief is that we got here through evolution, a process that happened by chance, a chance that's so small and so improbable that it's almost impossible to represent. Evolutionist Sir Fred Hoyle put it like this: the odds of life springing from non-life are 1 in 10 to the 40,000th power. That's 1 divided by 10 with 40,000 zeros. If those were the odds that your favorite team was going to win the Super Bowl, would you bet your life savings? Would you bet your soul? Regardless if you think we have a soul or not, Christianity claims that your soul is on the line, your immortal soul, the thing inside of you that makes you you. Jesus put it like this: what would it profit a person if they gained the whole world but they lost their soul? Heaven and hell is what awaits. Why would you place your bet on an impossibility? And to that, you might say, what's so impossible about evolution?
Sir Fred Hoyle. Sir Fred Hoyle, he's the guy who coined the term Big Bang. He was the guy who came up with the term Big Bang. He said in a recent address at Caltech that no amount of time now being considered by evolutionists is remotely adequate to accomplish the formation of a higher living organism by chance. Such an event would be comparable to the chance of a tornado sweeping through a junkyard and assembling a fully functional Boeing 747. Possible or impossible based on the odds?
I think that has a lot of moving parts to it.
It seems to have been what has occurred.
I don't know if I agree with him saying that nothing could have done that in that time frame.
So John wasn't sure about the whole 747 business, but he did seem to think that evolution over millions and even billions of years could account for everything we see. It seemed like time was the key.
Time does not take into account what randomness does to the equations.
Right.
Time is always the out for the atheistic worldview when the math doesn't look like it's going to work. The problem with that is it doesn't really matter how much time you want to put in that equation. An impossibility is still an impossibility.
Is it possible that right now you are believing in an impossibility?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is possible to believe in an impossibility.
It's definitely possible.
Does that concern you at all?
I've grown used to it.
I try not to think about these things too much.
But can more time make it possible?
No. We have all sorts of examples of what we call irreducible complexity. Things are interdependent on one another to function. So you can take a pair of glasses and you can argue, well, to be a functional pair of glasses, which had to come first, the frame or the lenses? Well, without either component, you don't have a pair of glasses. You know, you've got a frame here with nothing to look through. It's not improving anyone's vision. Even if you want to use inanimate objects as examples of irreducible complexity, what makes inanimate, non-thinking matter decide to do something that's beneficial, that has value? If inanimate material doesn't have a reason to come together, it's never going to do it on its own. A mind had to be involved.
Do you believe in abiogenesis?
I'm not sure what that means.
So biogenesis is that, life comes from life. Abiogenesis is that life can come from non-life. Do you think that that's possible?
I'm not sure, but I think life came from life.
Okay.
Yes.
So there always has been life then?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the problem we come into with the Big Bang Theory, because you have to believe in some form of abiogenesis, because unless you believe that life is eternal.
Right.
Do you believe that life is eternal?
I don't think there's anything that lives on forever.
So you've got two options here, basically. You've got biogenesis, that all life comes from some form of life. Then you've got abiogenesis, which means that at some point, life came from non-life. Which one's the truth?
Abiogenesis runs into the same issues that the Big Bang Theory runs into. Why did something lifeless become alive without a decision or a catalyst of some sort to make that happen?
And you and I, we are products of life coming from life, right? You have parents, everybody's got parents, every tree's got seeds, right? That's how generally the universe works. But the Big Bang Theory relies on heavily life coming from non-life. Right? Do you think you buy that?
Do I buy that it is a possibility? Yeah, I think that, there really is no other explanation for it on a scientific basis because, assuming if we're saying that life has to come from life, well, eventually there has to be somewhere down the line a beginning of life that doesn't come from life because it's the first one. So yeah.
A lot of people want to refer back to some experiments that were going on even as far back as the 1950s, where inanimate materials formed enzymes or proteins, and they want to go to that as proof that abiogenesis is possible. What people fail to realize, you cannot eliminate theism from the discussion until you eliminate the scientist who conducted the experiment, until you can answer how the Bunsen burner lit itself, until you can answer where the flask came from, how did the material end up in the flask. In other words, these experiments would have had to have conducted themselves apart from any mental, human, in this case, interaction or guidance. And until you can eliminate those things, you cannot eliminate theism as the only plausible answer for the origin of life.
In light of the odds, it does seem pretty reasonable that God created everything. But enough with the math and the numbers. Let's talk about art. Next on Road Trip to Truth, beauty and how it shows the God behind creation.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Next week, we got more content coming at you, so make sure you subscribe.